Did Pepsi really lose a $1 billion brand to an Onlyfans model? You heard that correct. She does Onlyfans, and I found a few clips that don't break community guidelines, but stay to the end of the video so you don't miss them. Roll the clip.
Do you guys know the soda Sierra Mist?
Yes.
There is an influencer named Sierra Mist. Pepsi sent her a cease and desist. She looked it up. Their trademark had lapsed. She bought it.
Oh no.
Holy shit.
They tried to buy it from her for like $10 million and she said no.
What?
And now she's like leveraging it. Someone on their team didn't renew their trademark. That's supposed to be like an auto renewal.
No, I know. For something that big.
I love a corporate exploit.
I love an underdog winning.
As someone who has a few trademarks of my own, I immediately thought this was a lie. But I'm not gonna act like I'm a trademark expert, so I did some research, and no, not because I care about Pepsi, but because it would really suck for me to have built a business, then forgot to re-register my trademark, and someone steals it. And here's the influencer explaining what happened.
What's something that's a weird flex in your world that no one else probably ever thinks about?
Ever wonder why Pepsi changed the name from Sierra Mist to Starry? It's me. I'm the reason. Let me explain. So I've always used the name Sierra Mist, dating all the way back to whenever AOL Instant Messenger was a thing. But recently in the past couple years, my social media career has really taken off, and I've gotten news articles, like way more news articles written about me, Sierra Mist, not the soda. Which is how I unintentionally and accidentally got Pepsi's attention. Next thing you know, they're coming after me like, yo, our two brands do not collide, and we had this trademark first. Little did they know that their trademark was actually expiring. Now for legal reasons, I can't go into too much detail, but I will say this. One kept their name, and one decided to rebrand.
And I found a clip of a lawyer that will explain this a little better. I know, you guys want to get to the spicy part of the video, but let's learn something first, because the reason I thought this was fake was because she's an influencer and Pepsi is a soda company. The way trademarks works is they're industry specific, so if I wanted to start a business selling computers and call it a Mac, I couldn't do that, because MacBook is trademarked for electronics. But say another company decided to sell makeup and they want their store to be named Mac. That's okay. Those two things exist right now, and you probably didn't even think about it. The fact that those are two different companies. And there are plenty of examples of this. You have Delta Airlines, Delta Faucet, which is a faucet company, and a Delta Dental company. You have Dove, who sells soap and beauty products, and you have Dove, the chocolate. So right off the back, I thought this was fake. But in this video, she forgot to mention how they allegedly offered to buy it back, and she turned them down, which, like I said, she does OnlyFans, so I couldn't see her turning down millions of dollars, but I'll let her explain it.
Starry is Sierra Mist. I'm confused. Sierra Mist is dead.
Hi, Sierra Mist here, still very much alive, but I see that there's a bunch of misinformation in this video that I thought I'd clear up really quick. First of all, the reason that Sierra Mist was renamed to Starry was not because they wanted to rebrand like they claim, but more so they feel like they probably had to after what they tried doing to me. So fun fact, Sierra Mist was owned by Pepsi Company. And as you can see below, my username is Sierra Mist. I go by Sierra Mist, and one day Pepsi put two and two together, caught on, and sent me this pretty little letter called a cease and desist. For those who don't know, a cease and desist is basically saying, hey, you meet our demands or we sue you. And they wanted to sue me for copyright infringement and defamation because apparently my content and being a spicy flight attendant filming with passengers and stuff doesn't align with their core values, which I mean is fair, but at the same time, it gets better. After almost agreeing with their demands, me and my attorneys actually did some research and we found out something that I don't even think they knew. Turns out their copyright they were so worried about was expired. What does any normal person who's being intimidated and gaslit by $1 billion corporation wanting me to surrender to them do with this new information? I said flip the script and buy the copyright. You'd be right. Apparently when you have an expired copyright and somebody buys it off of you, you actually get notified. So I could only imagine how it felt being Pepsi, not having any ground to come after me legally, but also the fact that I could now go after them legally because they were using my copyright on their sodas. Boy. brings us to their PR move of rebranding. Now, they've clearly been around long enough to know that just switching the names adds more emphasis on questions versus like the actual rebranding process. So they added this extraness of Starry having not only a new name, but new flavors and ingredients added, which, I mean, regardless, it still tastes like shit. Long story short, they fucked up, they know they did, and they knew the truth would eventually come out, which is why they were proactive about their rebranding or their positive PR movement. Not the first corporation to fuck up, but definitely not the last either. It just kind of makes you wonder what else is out there and what other truths could be revealed. Here are some of the reasons why I'm not going to sell the rights of Sierra Mist back to Pepsi. The first reason is pretty obvious, and that you guys know. They came after me first. And I don't even know why they would come after me. Like, as you can see, our names aren't even spelled the same, but yeah, whatever. I also just think that it's really funny people are hating on me, but like literally anybody could do this to a corporation whose copyrights expire. Another reason is that I'm pregnant, and having to go through the stress when I'm pregnant of all of this happening has been kind of chaotic, and now owning the rights to a super successful like soda name that's still popular in the soda industry, I'm thinking, well, I kind of want to take that opportunity and throw it back in their face. If anything, I could probably just make my own soda now and call it a day. To me, the entire process was kind of traumatizing, and the fact that they just want to buy it back from me now like it was nothing to them kind of says a lot more about them than it does me. And I just take pride in the fact that I'm not going to allow them to still take advantage of this situation. Also, to those asking how much Pepsi was going to pay for the name Sierra Mist back, I can't go over that because, you know, legalities and stuff. But I did give you hints throughout that video that I posted about how many figures it was gonna be. And to those who think I'm doing all this for clout, I just think it's really funny because don't you think Pepsi would have said something by now if it were just for clout? Just saying.
I couldn't find that video, but according to the comments, it was around 10 million. So let's listen to the lawyer and then we'll get to the good part, the spicy part of the video.
We got an answer to the claim that
This influencer is the reason why there's no longer Sierra Mist.
and it took a turn that I didn't expect. I was a little skeptical when I first heard the story.
No, Pepsi tried to sue me for the copyright of Sierra Mist. Little did they know that their trademark had actually expired. So I went ahead and bought it, meaning I now own the trademark for Sierra Mist.
Especially because she just said both copyright and trademark, and it's not the first time.
Their copyright they were so worried about was expired. Their trademark was actually expiring.
It's possible she's just gotten the terms mixed up because the stuff is confusing. I too am not a lawyer, so I called one who does know the difference.
Copyright protection is available for things like works of visual art, movies, films, photographs, not two-word phrases. When we're talking about two-word phrases, we're pretty much always talking about trademark law.
And when copyright expires, it becomes public for anyone to use. Is it possible that Sierra Mist's trademark expired without Pepsi knowing it?
Not really. The information about what trademarks are registered and what they're registered for is publicly available for anybody to see. So if you go to the USPTO website and you go to the trademark search system, you can type in Sierra Mist and you see that there are in fact a bunch of Sierra Mist registrations that are showing up as red, and they say something like abandoned. You might think, oh, okay, these have expired or the rights are no longer good. Maybe Pepsi fell down on the job and wasn't paying attention. Let's say theoretically that an influencer who uses the handle Sierra Mist applied to register Sierra Mist spelled her way. The first thing that would happen is the USPTO.
Okay, basically the trademark office could decide that her handle and products are different enough from Pepsi soda that she could get her own trademark for Sierra Mist. But if she wanted one for soda and spelled like this,
that wouldn't go very well for her either, because that's not the trademark that she uses, if she could be said to be using any trademark at all.
you can see that Pepsi has 3 active Sierra Mist trademarks, meaning it wouldn't make sense that they lost their trademark and then had to roll out Starry. And while Sierra Mist claiming that she bought Sierra Mist seems innocent enough, Alex told me there may be precedent for an influencer getting in trouble for saying stuff about themselves that's not true.
There's an influencer named Cassie DePicol who bills herself as being the first woman to have ever visited every country in the world. It turns out that that's not true.
She's gotten sued over it because of this law in Washington, D.C.
That looks on its face like it might prevent an influencer who also sells things or endorses things from making false claims about themselves.
That suit seems to still be playing out in court, and Sierra Mist didn't return my messages, asking for comment about her own situation. situation, but Alex says
That's something that maybe somebody like Sierra Mist should be aware of.
Which is exactly what I thought. So she lied and did a really good job going viral because of this. So it was a win-win situation for her because I'm sure she gained more subscribers on her OnlyFans account. Anyways, here's some of the spicy things I promised.
Answering those controversial questions about being a flight attendant that I've avoided until right now. Number 1, do pilots and flight attendants cheat? Let's just say if I had $1 for every single time I saw a pilot or a flight attendant cheat with other crew members or even passengers, I would own my own jet by now. Number 2, have I slept with any crew members? And to those asking that, I think you might be new here. I say that because recently I started this little mini series about my personal interactions with both crew and passengers.
By now, you're probably like, I knew that face looked familiar, and I'm here to tell you right now, you need Jesus. And there's more.
It honestly blows my mind that not one pilot or flight attendant has talked about the crazy things that happened during our layovers. Luckily though, you guys have a flight attendant who loves to spill the tea and has enough of these crazy stories to make it into a new mini-series. So I guess you could say this is episode 1, setting the scene. After flying all day and finally getting checked into the hotel, everyone was pretty tired and just decided to go to the restaurant at the hotel to eat and drink. So everyone starts drinking because that's what flight attendants and pilots do. And then the first officer decided to go back because he has a wife and doesn't want to get in trouble, you know, the whole shebang. But the captain wanted to keep drinking. And I don't think I need to say it, obviously flight attendants are about that life too. But since drinks at this restaurant were so expensive, and knowing the captain took about 20 of those mini bottles off the flight, the party got moved to the captain's room. I'm not gonna lie, it only took a few minis for everyone's clothes to come off. And since I can't go into too many details on this family-friendly app, we'll just say they started to play. Side note, if you do want the full juicy spicy details, that also may or may not come with the videos and photos of that layover, you know where to find it.
On OnlyFans.
Anyway, like I was saying, everyone's having fun playing with each other, but that's when the other flight attendant decided that the first officer should come play too. So after trying to call and no answer, the captain had this brilliant idea that the fun should continue right outside his door. So that's what 3 very drunk, very naked people did. Just like the phone though, he didn't answer the door. The difference this time, Captain's Viagra was wearing off quick. He decides to finish playing on the flight attendants right outside first officer's door. There are 2 kickers to this story. Number 1, everyone is still very much employed in the airline industry. Number 2, I have another story with this captain that is even crazier coming up next.
Dumb way to get fired. And good job to the pilot with the wife who went to his room, because this went viral and divorces aren't cheap. But more importantly, you could see why this story is kind of believable, because brands usually don't want to associate themselves with OnlyFans models. So if it's not clear to you yet, this story is fake. But what's even crazier is she found a man who wanted to start a family with her, even though you can still see her butthole for $15 a month. I know what you're wondering. Who's the lucky
Beta man?
Y'all, this is my bitch, Scotty.
And I'm from the South.
She runs the South.
lucky guy? I was gonna say lucky guy.
Someone who was hard to impress. I carry that shit real deep in my chest.
And if you're wondering, she kept a lot going, so she's going back to work, which I'm surprised she still has a job after all the crazy things she posts, but it is what it is. If you want to see people dumber than you making millions, check this video out.